a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News and Jib Jab. Greetings, I'm Bud Lowell, and your full AccuWeather forecast is right across the top of all CNC local news pages. Fire departments were busy in Arundequoit, Rochester, and in Livingston County overnight. 4 people are safe after a house fire late Wednesday on Dewey Avenue off Lakeshore Boulevard. Firefighters got there and found heavy smoke coming from the second floor. They had to call for mutual aid because of the severe cold weather conditions, but got the fire under control quickly, and the cause is under investigation. The Rochester Fire Department got its turn about 3 in the morning. A space heater running on an enclosed porch set a house on fire on Lefroy Street. A smoke detector woke the residents up. A dog was killed, but 3 adults and 5 kids got out safely thanks to that smoke alarm. The house was heavily damaged. And it was the same story in North Dansville, Livingston County, also early Thursday morning. The sheriff's office says a smoke detector woke a family up and they found their house was on fire. Everyone got out okay, but the house was heavily damaged. Firefighters think an outside wood furnace might have triggered the blaze. A head-on collision in Greece killed a 57-year-old man Wednesday evening rush hour when his car went out of control on the Ladder Road Bridge over 390. Greece police say the car hit a curb about 5 p.m., then it crossed the center line and hit an oncoming car. The driver of the second vehicle wasn't hurt. Police say the driver who crashed was pronounced dead at Strong Memorial. They're not sure if he died from the crash or some medical condition that might have caused him to lose control, or maybe a combination of both. And the dead man's name hasn't been released pending notification of relatives. The accident is still under investigation. Speaking of accidents, lake effect snows closed in suddenly Thursday morning rush hour and then lifted just as suddenly around Rochester. While downtown was getting sunshine, traffic cams on 590 were seeing this. And there were a number of crashes, including a rollover on 390 near Vintage Lane, and then this mishap on 104 on the Webster side of the Bay Bridge. A Hilton man is in the Monroe County Jail Thursday after a standoff at a house on Parma Center Road. Greece police say the incident began when a woman called 911 and said her boyfriend was on the way to her house intending to cause harm. Police began looking for 42-year-old Thomas Bell. They spotted him near the house. He ran inside when they tried to stop him. Eventually, he surrendered peacefully after talking for some time to police negotiators. Police said Bell had 4 outstanding arrest warrants, 2 from Greece, 2 from the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, and he is in jail on $55,000 bail. The Penfield Town Board has given Jeremiah's Tavern the go-ahead to build a new location on Fairport 9 Mile Point Road. The restaurant and bar was controversial because it's next door to Doodlebug's Daycare. Some parents did not like the idea of bar patrons driving in and out next to their children. But after hearing the pros and cons, the board granted a conditional use permit for the tavern and gave the owners permission to operate from 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. Indoor music performance is allowed if not audible past the property line. The site will have outdoor seating. Music events will only be allowed there Fridays and Saturdays, and they have to shut down at 11. The city of Rochester is saying we're flattered, but no thanks, after receiving a letter from the U.S. Olympic Committee inviting the city to bid for the 2024 Olympic Games. The Olympic Organizing Committee sent letters out to 36 cities around the nation looking to see who's interested in being a potential 2024 contender. That might have something to do with a gentleman named Al Schneider of the New York Sports Congress. He's been pushing since the 90s for the idea that Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse together could host a Summer Olympics. Unfortunately for the dream, hosting an Olympics is roughly a $3 billion proposition, and that's not counting developing an Olympic village for more than 16,000 athletes, performance venues, 45,000 hotel rooms that you have to bring to the table, and an airport capable of handling thousands of travelers per day. Rochester Mayor Tom Richards, for one, says the city is in no financial condition to contemplate anything like that. The Buffalo Sabres have fired head coach Lindy Ruff, and they called up Rochester Americans head coach Ron Ralston to take over the Sabres' head coaching duties for the rest of the season. Ruff had been the longest tenured head coach in the National Hockey League, 16 years. A reliable source said Ralston was in the Amerks office preparing for last night's game against the Texas Stars when he got a call and immediately left for Buffalo. The Amerks then came up short Wednesday night 5-1 against the Stars after Ralston's departure. Chad Cassidy hosted the Americans for last night's game, and he'll likely finish out the Amerks season as head coach.
I think it's emotional when you lose your head coach, but I think, obviously as me and Sales, as the assistant coaches, we're a little bit closer to the guys and working with them every day, and I thought they wanted to do well for us. But in turn, I thought it affected our game in a negative way where we got ourselves out of position a lot, did a lot of running around, and really just played an inconsistent 60 minutes. So, obviously it hurt our focus to some extent, but again, we just got to be better.
In Buffalo, Sabres general manager Darcy Regier held a press conference in which he said Ruff didn't lose the team, but the team, particularly the defense, was not responding to him. The last straw was probably Tuesday night's 2-1 loss at home to the Winnipeg Jets. The team was booed off the ice by fans. Governor Cuomo has introduced legislation that would eventually require about half the state's gas stations to have backup electrical power available. The governor's office says this is to avoid the sort of fuel crisis that hit downstate when Hurricane Sandy cut electricity for days, even weeks. The service stations had gas, but they couldn't pump it out of their tanks. If approved, this law would eventually require all stations within half a mile of a highway exit or on a hurricane evacuation route to have a backup generator and a transfer switch. By March of 2014, they would have to be able to resume operations on backup power within 24 hours of losing the electric grid. Stations below a certain size are exempt, and owners get up to $10,000 per station to upgrade their facilities. That's mainly coming from the federal disaster relief money. There's been no reaction so far from the New York State Association of Service Stations. To the left of the player window, you'll find links to these and other stories, and at the bottom of the page are links that you can use to post news information directly to us. What you share with us helps determine what we're able to cover for you, so the next news is as it happens, updates are as necessary, and I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.